Right.
I don't want them getting sick and saying, you made me ill. I don't want them.
All right. We'll wait. We'll wait to, I just wanted to get, these are going to be. Hey everyone, it's Scott Roberts, and today with me, special guest, Dr. Daniel Barth, who does a lot of our videos, but it's great to have him on. Daniel used to also work at a retail store selling telescopes.
In Los Angeles, yes.
Yeah, yep. And so that's kind of how we first met, but that was a long time
30
ago.
more than 30 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
And you're only 31, right?
That, 39, like Jack
39,
Benny.
all right.
That's right.
So anyhow, you know, today we're going to be talking about the National Geographic Star App 70 Refractor. But let's roll some video of what we showed last time. Today we are going to do an out-of-the-box assembly and how to use the First Light Series 8-inch Dobsonian. And this assembles, if you've ever put together IKEA furniture before, same kind of deal.
The tools you're going to need. Phillips.
Yeah, and I said one of these is a front and one's a back. Actually, it's just a front, and then you've got two side
pieces
right here, right?
So we have a Phillips head screwdriver, a 2mm hex or Allen wrench, and a crescent wrench, okay? Those are the tools that we're going to need to put this together. Yep, don't want to over tighten.
That's good, that's good.
Okay.
All right, now those things, these little
These
capture
little
things
right
go into,
all those holes.
yep.
Going to tighten this down. And before I tighten that one down, see, they both lock in there real easy.
Yeah. And
Just like that. There we go. And we've got it ready to go. So here these are, Scott. There you go. Now then, there's a couple of things to know about this. These are not the same, right? They look the same, but they're not the same.
mm-hmm. They
All right.
have
This piece right here,
this piece right here, and they also
And this-
have,
a little guide
Yeah.
to keep it all square.
Mm-hmm.
So the nose piece, I'm consulting my directions. I've read them a couple of times just to make sure I understand. The nose pieces go on the side away from the focuser, okay? Just
gonna
like
be like
that.
that.
Just like that. So grab that.
and you
Here.
notice there's two holes here, and we're going to move these cradle rings also so that we get to the center of gravity of the tube assembly. Now, something else you notice about these bearings is that they've got a surface on it that feels like it's a rough pebbles and stuff, but they are when they rub up against the Teflon pads, it makes the right kind of stiction, but also the right kind of smoothness for getting a nice adjustment in altitude.
All right, so here you go.
Okay.
All right, so here's the
Now
base,
pull that base back.
about right there, about where the table
Maybe
was.
a little bit more.
Okay.
A little bit more. All the way to the back as far as we can. Okay. All right. And now,
We're just going to set it down in those curved arms. And we don't have the tube tight, so it's going to slide all the way down.
yeah. Here, but if you pull it like that,
I'll hold on to it. So
the other
about
can
right
slide.
there. Now we're going to tighten these up. And if you have a balance problem, you can just slide these in and out, right? And get it to where it balances for you. And you don't have to get those down super tight. You just want them tight enough, the tube's not going to move. So here we go.
right. So we don't need to.
And Scott, we still
These
don't
are
have
other
it.
things that you want to keep.
We still don't have it quite right,
To
Scott.
tell you how the telescope assembled.
We don't have it quite right because we got to move it a little bit more because
Well, you also don't have the other stuff on it, so just go ahead and.
It won't clear the base. It won't stand up straight.
I see.
That might do it. So you should be able to.
Oh, right. This has to go. Show them that.
Yeah.
Okay. This has to clear. That bottom has to clear this board.
And there we go. We just cleared it. So there we go. Okay.
I'm going to take the lens cap off.
It's always hard to get the lens cap off the first couple of times. There we go. This is the 8-inch First Light Dobsonian telescope.
All right.
It's a beautiful scope, as you can see. Has a single speed focuser, but we do have a 10-to-1 reduction gear that's an accessory that you can order to put on it as well. It comes with a focuser that can allow either 2-inch eyepieces or 1.25-inch eyepieces with the adapter. All right, and right here, tighten this down. This has 2 places where you can put a finder scope.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you ever want to learn more about it, you know where to go. So, anyways, our next out-of-the-box experience, Daniel and I are going to take the Star App 70 Refractor, National Geographic. It's got the little Star App software download for your smartphone, and it's going to help you learn the sky.
Absolutely.
But I have used small telescopes a lot at big star parties.
Yes.
Okay, I have made a point at times to go up to my friends who have giant telescopes, and believe me, amateur astronomers sometimes have ginormous telescopes,
Yes,
okay?
we do.
And they do not think that you can see anything through a little telescope.
I see this all the time online, in forums,
Right.
social media.
Sure, and so, but that's not true.
It is not.
It's not true, and what you really do need is an appropriate eyepiece,
Yes.
okay, which we're going to talk about here. You need to find your way around the sky.
Correct.
You need to learn how to relax at the eyepiece, which we'll talk a little bit about, okay? But I have seen things like the Whirlpool Galaxy with the 70-millimeter
Yes, you
telescope.
can. Yes, you can.
You can see lots of nebulosity with it, and but you need clear, dark skies.
You do.
So.
And Scott, people forget that Galileo discovered mountains on the moon, that there was no atmosphere. He measured the heights of mountains on the moon.
What?
He proved that the sun had to be the center of our solar system, not the Earth, with a telescope less than half the size of this.
Oh, yeah, and much less than half the quality of this.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Certainly.
So,
certainly.
So his, you can go and see at the Galileo has there's a museum.
There is.
And one of his original objective lenses is there, and it's cool to look at, but sadly it's not that good. Okay.
No.
So, but he did amazing things with it.
He did amazing things.
And he changed the world.
He did.
Right. And so.
He did.
And you can change your world by learning about the sky.
Indeed.
With a small telescope like this.
You and I have been involved in selling and marketing telescopes one way or another together for more than 30 years.
Right.
And working in a telescope store, I've sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these.
Right.
And this is, in many ways, the ideal first telescope. It's lightweight. There's no trouble setting it up. It's point, look, and enjoy. And you can set it up, take advantage of the sky for 20 minutes. If it gets cloudy, bring it in. There's no setup time, takedown time. There's no gears, no levers, no batteries, no winding. It's just so
easy, simple
to use.
So simple to use. So I'm making sure that I have my smartphone over here with the Star App software on it. But we're going to take this out of the box and show you how not only easy to use, but the other thing that might be important to some of you out there is how low cost this thing is. Okay,
it's a heck of a bargain.
It is. So let's go ahead and
let's go open
take it apart. Okay.
And I have a booklet in my end with instructions for the app as well as instructions for the telescope. This is so easy, folks. It's easier than making Betty Crocker brownies. Wow. You're going to have a great time.
I like Betty Crocker brownies.
I do too.
Anyways, okay, so we've got 2 boxes that he's pushing out, okay? And here we go. It's nice packaging. It's in pretty sturdy cardboard here. We've got something that kind of comes up here at the top, and this is, inside is an accessory tray for the tripod.
Helps hold your eyepieces and things.
Yep, we got some flaps here. Now the thing I think you're going to really like is that this telescope's almost completely assembled.
And that's so nice, because I know, Scott, many people have talked to me and said, can you put it together for me when I sold telescopes? I actually made a lot of money on the side putting together telescopes for people because they
That's
didn't want to
cool.
do it on Christmas morning.
Right.
And this is so simple, and it's almost completely assembled.
Look at this. This is the spreader bar for the tripod. This helps make the tripod legs really sturdy all by themselves.
Right.
It just kind of pushes down like so. Let's dig out that accessory tray.
Indeed.
Okay. So there's a couple of flaps
And
here.
a lot of people will like to use a telescope like this at the greatest height, but I often recommend people use it as a lower height with a small lawn chair
There you go.
or a little camping stool, because the lower the telescope is, the sturdier it is,
Sturdier
and
it
it's
is.
less fatigue for the observer,
Yep.
and that's a big thing.
That is a big thing. And you're going to find out that being relaxed at the eyepiece
So important.
lets you see more, okay? Because we don't want you to take that, those 5-second looks through the telescope. Once you have a nebula or a galaxy or a planet,
We want you to relax and spend
some time.
10, 15 minutes,
Exactly.
because the more you look at, the more you'll see.
Right. So this accessory tray has 3 holes. This is for something called a Barlow lens and the 2 eyepieces that comes with it.
Indeed.
Okay, and those help you change magnification. It's got a keyed centerpiece here, and that fits over the
And then
keyed
just
center.
snaps into place.
And that's,
Oh, that's so easy.
Yeah, and so now
Compared
it's-
with the old fiddly kind with screws and
with
nuts and
screws
bolts.
and wing nuts.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's the part that's what made you a lot of money before, right? So, right? Okay, so we are now ready to dig into the next box, which is going to be this little guy right here. And this box has what's called the Alt-Az head. Okay.
Yes, indeed. And this is really nice, folks, because this is not plastic. This is cast metal, and you have your locking screw here. You have a compass inside to help you orient yourself to the sky. It has a little low friction ring on here, and the screw on the bottom, so you can tighten this up. The old telescopes that we often sold, you couldn't tighten up the head.
Oh,
And so sometimes it would get wobbly, and
Right.
it was a big
yeah,
problem.
wobbly tripods make for a very frustrating night.
Disappointing experience.
Yes.
Indeed, they do. So I'm taking off this this locking nut, and I'm careful not to lose the screw.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to just go ahead and set this up. And there's a little plastic ring in here, folks. The little plastic ring helps you have a surface with enough friction. You don't want so much that you can't move it easily, and you don't want so little that it just, it flies around at the slightest bump, and then you can't go ahead. And there we go. And this is nice, and we can turn it, and you can adjust the amount of tension
Yep.
down here.
And you also have a lock on the side here too, so you can.
You do.
If you want to nail this down in position, you can do it.
You can lock it down. I'm loosening this up so we can mount the telescope.
Yeah.
And again, for locking things down, if you're observing during the day, and this is great if you want to observe birds and wildlife and things like that, it's terrific.
See this guy,
There
he
you
goes
go.
inside like this, and it's easier to show you from this angle, but this has like a little notch in it, and it's a clamp, okay? So right now we can tilt up and down. This is called altitude. If you're a photographer, this is called tilt, okay? And this is called pan, but
If you're an astronomer,
Alt-Az. Yeah. Is Paul on air? Oh, you got, okay, so there's a question.
okay.
All right, so
Can we see it up in the chat?
So-
Not yet?
not yet.
Robert 2300 asks, will the Acer Plus work with the Exos 100 mount?
Yes, it will. Yep, we're not talking about that today, but we will get to that product eventually, and we can start to answer lots of questions for you. But absolutely, yes, it can. And there are a lot of people out there using it. So if you go out to the forums online and just ask that question. You're going to get lots of responses, okay? But we're returning now to our
the
Star App 70. Okay. So,
and this is, I got to compliment you, Scott. This is such a beautiful instrument.
it is nice. I mean, it's just
it's
all...
so beautiful.
There we go. So we have, this is called a dew shield. Now the dew shield does two functions. One is that we've all been outside where things dewed up, you know, and you don't want to sit in like a lawn chair that's like all dewed up and wet, okay, because that's kind of ucky. So the dew shield is designed to collect that dew as much as possible so it doesn't form on the lens, fogging the lens over, okay? So that fits on.
It also blocks out stray light. If you're not
Also.
fortunate enough to be out in a dark sky area, which most of us observe from our backyards from time to time,
Right.
certainly new observers usually do. And for those folks, there's always stray light. And the dew shield also works as a light shield. Question?
Yeah, right. Yeah, our table's a little high here. Yeah, there's, and now we're finished, folks. You can't see it. Let's change this, okay? Here we go. So you can see now I'm extending the legs, and you can extend these continuously. They're metal legs, and
Nice. They're
It is
extruded,
nice.
they're extruded aluminum.
exactly.
And we all remember the tripods with the wobbly wooden legs.
legs.
This is nice.
Yeah,
This is nice.
yeah. It's sturdy. The tilt and pan or alt-azimuth head is really smooth. Okay, so you got smooth
is.
movements. You got smooth up and down. You got locks. Okay, which you can half lock and still move.
Right.
Let go. Okay, so that's nice.
One of the things that's important, friends, is you're going to want to set up your telescope with enough friction that you can move it in altitude and azimuth, left to right, up and down, and follow things, because of course the Earth's ever turning and the sky is moving. And
Right.
there we go.
So-
We've got a little,
You can see I'm taking off some tape off the back here.
and it has a
Here,
sun
let's center this up for you. Okay?
has a sun warning, and please, folks, never, ever point a live telescope toward the sun, not even if you think it's covered. Just
Right.
don't do it.
Right.
If you want to observe the sun, there's products for that. Explore can help you, and you can talk to a local astronomy club. There are specialized telescopes. There are safe ways to do it.
Yep.
But you cannot point a telescope like this at the sun.
What happens if you do?
Oh, you're instantly ruined. You're going to go
Right,
blind.
your eye.
You're going to go blind in seconds.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, wow, okay, that's bright. Okay.
No.
As soon as that
al-
happens,
you've
you are
already
Okay,
given
now-
yourself a life-changing injury.
Exactly.
It's not going to heal.
Exactly.
And
When
just
we were working retail, I remember a guy that came in who had looked at the sun accidentally through binoculars.
oh Lord,
Okay.
both eyes at once.
And he had it, and he kind of moved slowly, and so this guy could not look at me directly.
He had
Parts
to
of
use
his eyes-
averted vision to see you.
Yeah, part of his eye still worked, but right down the middle,
The central retina was fried.
fried like a laser beam.
And I know where I worked, we sometimes cleaned and repaired telescopes, and a guy brought in a big 12-inch mirror to be cleaned.
Okay.
And we cleaned it, and one of my work pals took it outside to check it in the sun to see if it was clean, and somebody called his name, and he turned,
Oh, my
and he
God.
caught the flash from the 12-inch focusing mirror in the face.
Oh.
And he did recover, but he said he didn't see normally for about a week and a half.
Yeah.
Everything looked green.
So be careful.
Oh,
Be
please,
careful.
so
Do
careful.
not, if you have kids,
You need
supervision.
adult supervision, absolutely.
Yes.
You know, you cannot, not for a minute, not for a second, never, ever, no.
Right. And so if you see the sun over here and you're looking at a bird over there, just be careful, real
right.
careful.
That's
you
right.
see the shadow getting short, okay, that
Right.
means you're too close to the sun.
You are.
Right? So anyhow, we just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, we want you to be safe and enjoy this for many years.
For many years, that's right. So anyhow, I've taken off the cap that's
And
on
we
the
have
back.
the star diagonal. This has a mirror in the bottom. And this,
You can set fires with that, can't you, Scott?
no, it doesn't focus like that.
Or your telescope, it gets
You could
enough
set a
heat.
fire in your eyeball, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't come to a needle
point.
point like a magnifying lens.
But
it doesn't
we-
do that.
Scott burned holes in the
I did burn holes
glasses.
in some eclipse glasses when a guy asked me, can I use eclipse glasses to look through my telescope?
No.
Oh my God. No,
Oh my
no,
gosh.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No, no.
Oh yeah.
You need to school up before you get.
Was he appropriately impressed when you?
I made this video. This video that I did has been watched many times. You
I'm
know?
sure.
But anyhow, so you can see one of the things I've done here. There's a little set screw.
Yes.
Okay. That you're just going to release. You're going to drop that guy in there.
Be
You're gonna-
careful you don't lose those screws, folks.
Right. Yeah. Or you'll be digging in the grass for a long time.
Yeah.
We do have something called a metal detector that can help you find screws, but you know it's just better not to lose
You
them.
don't want to do that.
Okay.
We have two lovely Bresser eyepieces here.
Yep. And these are one of them. Well, they're both Plossl eyepieces.
Right, which means they're 4-element. They're very wide angle. So much better than the stuff you and I used as kids.
That's right.
The
That's
Kellners and the Huygens and
right. Yeah,
all
and
of
those
that.
little tiny eyepieces.
little tiny openings.
with maybe 1 or 2 lenses here.
Can
this
we
is a
can
4
we see
element.
can we see on camera here? I don't know if you can zoom in, but
You can see how big the
yeah,
glass
you can
is.
see how big the glass is.
So it's
You're
easier to
looking
center
through an
your
aperture here that's almost the size of a quarter,
Yeah.
American quarter, and the bigger aperture is so easy, friends, for first-time astronomers and for children.
Yeah.
One of the things with an eyepiece with a smaller aperture is that people hunt around to get their eye in the right spot. This is so easy. It's like looking through a car window. It's great.
And this is your window in the universe.
It
that's
is.
For sure.
Now, the other eyepiece, this
Okay.
is a 9.7 millimeter.
Yep.
And higher power, you get a smaller opening to look through.
Yes.
And you're going to see a smaller, more restricted area of the sky.
Of the sky.
That's part of the
That's right.
trade-off with magnification, which means we always start out with our low power. We get our view centered on the moon or Saturn or whatever,
Yep.
and then we very carefully switch over to the higher magnification eyepiece. But we're going to just show you how these mount here.
Yep.
These are 1.25" American standard. They drop right in, and you don't have, it's not like a lug nut, guys.
Yeah.
You just snug it just a little bit
Yeah.
with your fingers, just a little tiny bit,
So it doesn't fall out. You can
just so
see
it doesn't slip out. And right now, Scott, is essentially ready to use.
It is, except we have a couple of more things we want to
Have a
add.
couple
we
more
want to
things.
add the Star App bracket. Okay.
The Star App bracket. This is what raises this telescope up so much over the little 60 millimeter classic
Right.
that Scott and I both had when we were kids.
Well, I didn't have a 60. I had a little 40.
You had a 40?
I had a 40.
I had a 60.
Yeah, you were.
My
so that's a
parents
lot more.
love me
so,
more.
So what he's done is he's put this over a couple of notches here.
Yes, it's just got a little notch mount. It just slides right in.
There's a place for like a watch-size battery in here, and that turns on a Bluetooth function on this. But on top of that, even if I didn't have my smartphone, let's say that my batteries died or whatever, you can still use...
You've got a little crosshair.
Yeah, you got a little crosshair, so you can still use this and look through the crosshair and get centered up on the moon or a planet or something, you know the sky a little bit.
Yes.
But when amateur astronomers first get started, most of us don't know the sky, okay?
No.
We don't know the sky. We don't know the constellations very well. I think when I started, Daniel, I could point out the Big Dipper and the moon.
And that
Honestly, that was it.
that was
That
it?
was the limit. I couldn't even
And
help you find a planet.
I
okay?
don't, you know, I don't have a finder on my personal telescope.
Really?
Yeah. And my students are like, how do you point that?
How do
I'm
you
like,
do that,
you look
Daniel?"
along the barrel. And
Okay.
you know where you're looking, but yeah,
can do that.
I need to get a finder.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
Travel Diva 2 says hello
Hey, everybody.
on
Hey,
Amazon.
Travel Diva. Do you have a telescope? If you do, you're going to travel much further. And
Oh, yes.
you know, so a lot of people, when they're looking at telescopes, they're driving by or something, they see you on the side of the road with
Oh,
the
my gosh.
telescope. Hey, buddy, how powerful is that telescope? And they're thinking that you're going to throw a number out at them. But it's a lot more, it brings it much more home if you tell them what they can see.
Right.
And what have you seen through small telescopes?
Oh, rings of Saturn, moons of Jupiter, stripes on the planet Jupiter, especially like this year where Jupiter's at opposition. It's closer to the Earth, so it looks bigger, more detail. Mars is at opposition. A small telescope
Right.
like this, you can see polar caps and some albedo features, dark and light
Features,
areas
that's
on the
right.
surface.
That's right.
You can, on the moon, you can see not just craters, but central mountains inside of craters. You can see areas where there have been landslides. You can see rays of material that have been blasted explosively out of craters,
Right.
extending for hundreds of miles. You can see Maria, places where the lava has flooded out onto the lunar surface, and
Right.
if you catch it at the right phase, you can see the ripples in the plane as the lava flowed over surfaces and then froze in place.
Right.
Scott, you can see other galaxies with this.
So you've already talked about things that you can see. I mean, the
Oh,
moon's
yes.
a couple 100,000 miles
Oh.
away.
Jupiter is
Jupiter's
about
400 million miles away, and
Yes.
Saturn almost
a billion. Yeah, it's almost
right,
a
a
billion kilometers. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's, I mean, and that's just stuff in our celestial backyard.
That's right. It takes hours for the light from Saturn to reach us.
Right. Amazing.
So,
Amazing.
crazy.
So I am going to grab, before my battery runs out of my phone, okay, but let me turn this off and turn it back on so you can see. I've got this set up, okay, so that all I have to do is plug it, and plugging it in just means raising this up. It's kind of spring-loaded. It then depresses a button that connects the Bluetooth to this, and now,
Yes.
let's see if I can get this going.
Awesome.
Right?
That's so cool.
Right. And I think that we have a little bit of video of people actually using that. So why don't we run that right now?
You want the audio or no audio?
No audio. Can we talk over the audio?
Yeah, go ahead and talk.
Using this, and so, and this is the National Geographic brand, which we've all come to know and love. I love National Geographic stuff, you know. But you can see that the whole setup there, completely assembled. It's got a beautiful carbon fiber like wrap, okay, that goes over it. And you can see it assembled here with something we're going to show you a little bit later, which is a smartphone camera adapter. So this has an encyclopedia built into it, so you can see not only find the constellations in the sky, which is really something that is tough to do.
Yes.
And even as a guy that's been into it for a while, Daniel, I still don't know from sight every constellation that's up there. All right. So, but this can help you find it. So it also has audio in it. It will talk to you. Okay. So you could have if you want, and it will on in the sky, constellation-wise. But it also helps you find the planets. And so this, you know, this is like having Daniel Barth out there with you, helping you get
The next
started.
best thing.
That's right. So we're going to also show, after this, here we go, we're back. We're going to show how the camera adapter works. Now this is cool, okay?
This is the Explore Scientific camera adapter. And this is designed, folks, it has little suction cups here. It's designed to work without your cell phone case, so just be aware.
I just peeled my my smartphone case off.
And it basically, this adapter mounts onto your eyepiece so that the eyepiece is projecting right into your camera lens.
Right.
And we can mount this back here, Scott.
Yep.
There we go.
And this is good for getting bright stuff in the sky, like the moon and planets. Okay,
Correct.
so you're going to aim the scope up there. You're going to focus it just like you would normally. But now what you're going to do is you're going, unless you have two smartphones, and some of us have two smartphones.
I guess.
So, but we're going to go open up the camera. We're going to do this. And then you're going to center.
You want to, you want to look at the image on your smartphone, and you should basically see first, as you lower it down, you see the image of the eyepiece, and you're centering it, and you're using the suction cups to put it in place there, and you're just pressing firmly but gently.
Right, and then you focus it up. Okay.
Right, then you're going to adjust the focus. It's great to start with something bright like the moon,
Yeah.
or try it first during the day.
Oh, absolutely.
Look at a tree or a telephone pole or a house or a building down the road. Get it basically focused. Position your camera on there. Adjust the focus. In other words, learn all the mechanics while you are working in the daylight. So much easier than trying to use it the first time at night.
Now you can take individual shots just by clicking away.
You can even take video.
Or video.
Right.
And a lot of guys use video because
do.
there is software now. We don't have it, okay, but it's freely available. And you can take your video and then grab individual frames of things.
Line them up and stack them.
And you would be surprised what you can get. You can
It's
get
astounding.
nebula. You can get galaxies and stuff. And you can blow your friends away with this. So, anyhow. This way. Well, we had a kid earlier showing everything that was on there. So, honestly, we have to stay inside this little studio box here to do all this, and I get carried away. Anyways, that comes free with the system here.
That's cool.
You're going to have 2 eyepieces. We talked about the 26.
Right.
Okay, and the
9.7.
and the 9.7. So you're going to get what, 30?
You're going to get about 30 power, and you get
30 and change. Okay, which doesn't sound like very much magnification.
but it's quite a lot.
It's a lot, and this is actually these kinds of powers. This is what you go to find things with, and
Yes.
that's everything in the sky. Okay, it's also the preferred eyepiece. This 26. For deep sky objects.
Right, for nebula, like Orion's Nebula,
Yeah.
Whirlpool Galaxy, Andromeda Galaxy. The double cluster is up right now, Scott. It's so
Yeah, it's
amazing.
stunning. It looks like
in
diamonds.
Cassiopeia.
2 handfuls of diamonds poured out on black velvet.
It's
beautiful.
awesome.
Yeah.
And for these targets, many of them are bigger than you think.
Yeah.
Andromeda Galaxy is 5 times bigger than the full moon. It's absolutely enormous. And a low power eyepiece like this lets you see more sky. When you look at the Andromeda or the Orion's Nebula, there's all sorts of nebulas and features in and around and below the belt.
Right.
This low power eyepiece helps you see all of it or more of the sky. And when you switch over, we've got the 9.7, which gives you about 75 power.
Right.
And it doubles up to about 135 power. And then we have the Barlow. The Barlow, friends, multiplies double. And we calculated these. I calculated these earlier. And the basic eyepiece, the 26, gives you 27 power. And the 9.7 gives you 72 power.
Right.
The Barlow lets you double both of those. The 26
It's like having
becomes
4 eyepieces.
54, and the 72 becomes 134. And at 134 power,
That's a lot of power.
that's a lot of power.
Yeah. That's really good for observing planets, craters on the
Absolutely.
moon. But we're going to set some expectations here, okay? And maybe some disclaimers, okay? When I was a kid, there was a lot of misleading advertising going
yeah,
on
I know.
with
This telescope will do 900 power.
right,
Lie.
and they would show like a a guy and his son standing on one of the moons of Saturn or something,
Yes.
seeing the rings stretching across the horizon and stuff.
No.
At incredible magnifications, and no one gets that.
No
okay?
one, no.
Spacecraft do. Okay?
Yeah, if you want to fly there, talk to NASA or
Yeah,
ESA,
yeah, sign up for NASA and
SpaceX.
That's right. They're all out there for you. But I will tell you that seeing the rings of Saturn, it'll appear small in the eyepiece, and a lot of people are first startled that it looks small. Okay, but then
It's a billion miles away.
It starts sinking in. They're seeing another world, and a lot of people, when they see Saturn through a telescope, don't believe it's real.
All the time.
They don't believe it's real.
That's not, you'll have a picture on the front.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many.
They run to the front of the telescope.
Oh, all the time.
Right.
All the time. I've also had people, you know, literally burst into tears looking at the moon. It's so beautiful.
Right.
They can't.
Yeah,
it's
because they are
just
seeing
stunning.
another world. They suddenly realize that, you know, there's kind of this humbling thing that happens.
Very much so.
People tell you, God,
Very much so.
I feel so small in all this vastness, you know, and you
Yes.
you have a guy like Daniel there telling you, okay, you're looking this many millions of light years away or millions of miles away, and how big the rings of Saturn are, you know. I mean, the rings of Saturn are so big that if you took the planet and put one edge of the rings
On
on
Earth?
Earth, the other one would actually touch the moon.
Yes.
Okay, it's that big.
It's that big. And I often like to tell people, oh, you're looking at Jupiter, you're seeing it the way it was 3 hours ago.
3 hours ago.
We're looking at the Orion Nebula. You're seeing it the way it was 3,500 years ago.
Right.
When Pharaoh was laying the first blocks for the pyramids.
Right.
1,500 years before Christ. And that light has been on its way all this time to bullseye your telescope and end up in your eye.
In your eye. So you're
And
taking
it's
time-
just
it's a
stunning.
time machine, right?
It's stunning.
It's a real time machine. So,
It is. You look out in space, you look back in time.
Right. So you're going to get all this stuff. You're going to get the 70 Star App telescope with 2 eyepieces, a 2x Barlow lens. You're going to have also this
Finder scope.
the finder,
the finder
your
device.
crosshair finder with the Star App Bluetooth holder.
And you've got the photographic adapter.
Exactly. So
And this, friends, the nicest thing about this, if you're thinking about a present for a child for holiday time, this weighs just a few pounds.
right.
Any 8-year-old child can pick this up by themselves, take it out into the yard, set it down, and begin observing. The tripod, this is obviously sized for an adult. Scott and I are obviously big manly men, but you can lower it down so it's just the right size. What's that now? Slander? Slander in the studio? You can lower this down to size it right for any child.
That's true.
You can lower
Even
it.
children like us. Okay.
That's right. I'm a big kid. You can lower it down so you can use a camp stool and be very comfortable
Yep.
at the eyepiece. This is so nice. And as you remember, as you tilt it higher in the sky, the eyepiece goes lower.
Yep.
So you've got to remember that. And if you want to set it
That's where
up,
the little chair comes in place.
that's where the little chair comes in play.
And maybe even like a little table or something, you know, like a camp table that you would
Little
have
camp
out with
table.
you. Because you're probably going to want to use something called a planisphere. Okay.
Allow me to bring that up.
Yep. And we have, this is a double-sided planisphere. And the way that these work, let me get the big one here.
Yeah, we'll get the big one and
We
show
got
it.
the giant one here. And
I love this.
I always show the planisphere because, gosh, it's just such a handy tool. So we're what, December 6th, right?
Correct.
So let's find December 6th.
December 6th is over here.
Is over there. And let's say we're out, what's your bedtime there?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. December 6th.
Set it for 8 p.m.
All right,
There we
so-
go, right there.
There it is. And this window now shows you all the constellations that are up.
That's correct.
The actual real device that you buy has latitude lines that go from 0 latitude, like if you're at the equator. Okay.
This is much handier to keep.
Right.
keep
or if
with
you're all
you.
the way up in Finland or something where
That's
you know,
right.
it goes up to 60 degrees. We're at about 34 degrees.
34 degrees.
Latitude, which means that the North Star will appear about 34 degrees above the horizon.
Correct.
So, but this is how that works. This does show you some additional things, like here's the Andromeda Galaxy. There's the double cluster that that
We were
Daniel
talking
was
about
talking
earlier,
about.
yes.
We've got the Crab Nebula, really strange looking thing. It's from an exploded star from 1054 AD.
Yes.
The Chinese saw this.
1,000
This is-
years ago.
Right. And so, and then this kind of blue haze right here. It's not just blue haze.
Milky Way.
Milky Way. That's our galaxy.
Looking along here, you're going to see a river of stars.
Yep.
And it's just full of stars. It's amazing.
Right.
Stunning.
We've got this brown line, which is the ecliptic. This is how you find planets. And with that Star App device, you're going to find out where Jupiter and Saturn and all the planets are.
Absolutely.
So that's a need. You need that, okay?
The other thing we're going to recommend, and I think Paul has an image for us here, the book Star Mentor.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I've been
Written by this guy.
teaching astronomy for more than 45 years, Scott. A long time.
Long time.
And I took...
You get tired of it?
No, I still
Never?
love it.
Come
Never.
on, 45 years?
No, I still love it. I love taking people out in the dark and setting their hearts afire for astronomy and wonder. And what I did is I took all my experience, decades in teaching astronomy, compiled it together, about 50 activities. Teaches you how the solar system works, how to steer and move your telescope, how to track objects, how to locate the constellations. Teaches you a little bit about what you're looking at and where to find nebulae, galaxies, planetary nebula, all the exciting features. Because when we get a new telescope, so often we look at the moon, there's Jupiter, there's Saturn. What do I do next?
Yeah, I
what
don't
do
know
I
how to
do
find
next?
anything else, right?
And parents who get telescope for a child for Christmas, and you're worried about, will my youngster or my big youngster for me,
Right.
will they get bored with it after a week or two? Star Mentor basically gives you information for a whole year's worth of observation, and it's available on Amazon and Springer.com and many fine booksellers. And basically, it's as much as I can give you. It's essentially like having a private astronomy tutor that you can take out, and it gives you step-by-step instructions. One of the best reviews I've had of this, it says, somebody wrote in and said, it's like having an old friend out by the telescope with you to kind of guide you and help you learn what to do next, which I was just so thrilled
That's
with
awesome. You can't,
So
you know.
there we go.
So I think that wraps it up for today. Now, we're going to talk about, in our next program that we do, our next out of the box assemble program, we'll be talking about an Explorer 1 model, even less money than this, okay? Doesn't have all the nice features that this one does have, but still it can get you started for a lifetime of astronomy.
Indeed.
And until that time, Daniel, thank you very much.
Scott, pleasure
for
as always.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to be here to sell telescopes with you. So we never got to do that all those years
Not
ago.
together all those years ago,
Right.
no.
That's right. So anyways, you guys keep looking up, and we'll see you next time.
Enjoy the night.
You